All right, guys, back with another Portable Clint. Guys, I have a comedy legend here. This guy is so much of my childhood and through growing up here in LA. But this guy was just on the season finale of Mom, and also he did a lot on I'm Dying Up Here, which was a fantastic series created by Jim Carrey. But anyway, enough of that. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Overton. Whoa, whoa.
Hi,
look
Clint,
at
good
you.
to see you,
good
man.
to see you too, buddy. Thank you so much for doing this. Wow,
dudes
Rick.
with hats and beards.
That's what LA's
Sitting
about
here
right now.
At the farmer's market on what would be a perfect shooting day.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell where the sun is in the sky with the overcast.
That is true. That is true.
I always like that phrase, overcast.
Overcast.
That's like it's like that movie, the movie series, The Expendables.
Yes.
I always thought those films were overcast.
Ah, that's a good one. Okay, Rick, we're gonna get started.
We're going to go joke by joke. There'll be good ones, there'll be bad ones, so-so ones.
Exactly. So get a piece of paper and get ready. I want to
score.
Okay, Rick, where and why did you start? Was it New York? I shouldn't be answering your questions already, but where did you start this journey of acting, entertainment, stand-up?
New Jersey and then New York.
Okay. When? How old were you?
I was a little kid.
Little kid?
I was a kid. It wasn't professional,
Okay.
but I knew what I wanted.
I hear you on that.
My
Same
dad
here.
loved Jonathan Winters, and do you?
I absolutely,
day?
yes, to this day.
Jonathan
Which,
Winters, and of course that's how I bonded my friendship with Robin Williams, as he also loved Jonathan Winters, Peter Sellers. We had identical heroes,
yes,
and
those are all my same heroes.
yeah, it's a pretty logical hero. You know,
Right.
if you like funny things, you would gravitate to John Cleese, and
Yeah.
So we made a friendship out of that early in I'd say the late 70s,
This is a
forming out of the Catch a Rising Star scene when I met him, introduced to me by Elaine Boozler.
Okay.
And, they were buddies.
Rick. Catch a Rising Star means so much to me. As a kid living in Texas, getting HBO, and their first comedy specials were Catch a Rising Star, right? What was it called? That was it, right? I believe.
It was Robert Klein, or it was George Carlin.
Can't Stop My
and,
Foot. My
leg.
foot
Can't stop my leg.
Can't stop my leg. My leg
Foot's
stopped.
attached to the leg. Yeah. Leg just has a certain thing. Foot's another funny thing, but if you do that, you're like Gallagher too.
Yeah,
you're just,
that
hey
is
man,
true.
come on,
That
man.
is true. That is true. Okay, tell me about Catch a Rising Star. You don't need to go detail, but was that a big place for you to do stand-up?
Totally. I was in a comedy team. Roger Sullivan and I.
I don't know Roger Sullivan. Who is that? I'm sorry, I don't.
He's not with us anymore.
Okay.
He's been gone a long time. He had a heart failure.
Okay.
And so he is
Whoa, that was a first. Okay, look at that.
good recovery.
Good recovery.
Got it back.
Got it back.
Yeah, he and we ran for 5 years. And you know the trick about a comedy team is it's all art when no one's paying. But the second someone starts paying you, you're not paid double because it's two of you on that stage for that amount of time. You're just paid for that amount of time. Doesn't matter how many people you get into it. They don't pay extra because it's more people.
Right.
So it starts breaking down to whose joke premise was more important than whose joke punchline, who's carrying the weight of this team, who's doing all the hard work, whose car is it, who's paying for the gas.
Yep.
And it breaks teams up. And so around 1978, I was thinking about doing my own act. I didn't know where it was going to go, so I relied heavily on improvisation. And that's why I sort of still to this day have an improvisational kind of edge to the act when I can, because I was formatted to see that is sort of the way to push it ahead to go.
Sure. Yeah. Do you remember? We don't have to go through jokes. I know we kind of joked about that, but do you remember your first joke that you wrote for stand-up? Your first good one that you were really proud of?
It was wordplay, kind of like George Carlin wordplay, I'd say. A leisure suit. the very phrase leisure suit makes it sound like you're in a funeral because you had a casualty. I think that's how the joke was.
That's good. Okay, one of your first credits on IMDb was SNL audience member. What was that about?
They would stick you in the audience and they put a little phrase like, he likes to do such and such. And that was the early days when they
I
did
remember
that.
this, yes.
They give you a funny quote, and that was like a photo bomb, make the fan base love coming in and get those audience tickets because it might be you next week.
Oh, okay. So
and
that
then
was
you
planned.
can tell all your friends, watch me this week. It might be me on,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I don't know, because they invited me in and da-da-da.
Wow.
It was a good promotion. I thought it was a very smart way to do it.
Yeah.
That's when SNL was dangerous as hell, man. When they didn't have network fist like shushing and crushing so much as today.
Oh yeah.
It's a different set of standards by standards and practices today than it would have been a long time ago back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they were the ballsy, over easy stuff.
Okay, I feel like I kind of
Over easy.
I feel like I kind of glossed your stand-up with the Second City, but you did stand up to get into the business.
Yeah, the Second City thing you're getting is because I was so improvisational with my stand-up.
Right.
And I didn't really go through all of the schooling of Second City. They would let me guest in with them because I knew Robin and because they would see me play with him and figure I'm quick enough to get the rest of it,
Yeah.
Which over time I picked up what they were doing too.
And you're so funny. Rick, everybody in Hollywood knows you and loves you. Do you realize that? And find you very funny?
I'm going to check person to person.
Well, you can. You can.
I'm going to go person to person.
Okay. I'm not going to go through I'm not going to go through each credit, but I'm going to bring up some credits that stood out to me. Airplane 2.
Mm-hmm.
Were you excited when you booked Airplane 2? I mean, because Airplane 1 was a gigantic hit when you filmed
there's a funny
part
little
2.
story. I was supposed to be the dude on the moon with Shatner.
Oh, really?
You're going whoosh, whoosh, with the door. Remember the guy that made the noise?
Yes.
I was supposed to be him, but I'm the wrong size for that scene.
Oh, man. Okay.
Wrong size for that scene. And so they put me in with the big dude.
Who was the big
Swearing in the Bible, with, do you swear to the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Ain't no big thing. I give him 5 with the Bible. And that was my gag. They paid me already before they had me through wardrobe as Moon Guy, and they found out, oh no, that won't work.
Again,
size-wise. So
what's wrong with the size? Because he was shorter than you?
Yeah, that's it. I don't even fit through the doorway thing. It's like 6'4". And so it was a little bit. That is a problem in Hollywood,
Well, because William
There's
Shatner.
a little bit of a problem.
Right.
For certain dudes, unless you're the lead or the big goof. And so I go up for a lot of big goof. Richard Deacon was a big goof, and I was formatted on the Dick Van Dyke Show to say, hey, there's a place for big goofy guy. Because everyone told me when I was little, you're going to be tall. I went, okay. And I was wondering, Hollywood, some of the tall leading men.
Sure.
What if I'm not a leading man? Oh, they don't like tall non-leading men. Where am I going to go? Funny. Funny's a good way to go. Richard Deacon. There's other guy, big George Kennedy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're that part of the story, there's an explanation for all this, And so, but it was it was a good credit to have. At the time, I was starting to get on a roll. I was in Beverly Hills Cop at the same time, and started to knock a really fun scene. We got to improvise with Eddie.
Which one? What scene was this?
Oh, you gave him a match? Oh, you gave him a match. You gave him a match. I'm sorry. Look, remember that thing in the warehouse?
I do now. Yes.
You're in a paper warehouse. And you gave me a match.
Right.
And
Yes.
I go, you gave him a match. Remember that improvisational style started to come out a lot, and like he's telling the other guys, whenever he's lying, they're like, get out of here. They start rolling with it. You can see it can't possibly be scripted that way, right?
Right.
But it had a really fun, natural vibe. Eddie was really very, very instrumental in facilitating that, and it became a lot of films have picked up that style since, and we owe him a lot of credit for that.
Did you know
Eddie was kind of a forefather of that style in a lot of ways.
Did you know him before this show?
I knew him when he was in Identical Triplets. He was in a trio when I was in a team.
Really? What team was that? Was
That
he
was a
in? You said
trio. It was a trio back east.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know he was anything like. I just thought he did stand up and then SNL. That was it. But I guess he had a whole life before that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He also broke out of a team.
Okay. All right. So the trick is to break out of the team.
If you can keep the team going, more power to you. I don't see who can do it. I don't know anyone who's really done it. Not for money and not for long.
Right.
Cheech and Chong couldn't do it.
No, you're right.
Cheech and Chong couldn't hold it together forever. I'm going to do a cop thing. All right, the hell with you. Hey, buddy, I miss you, man. Let's get back into it. You know.
You're right. You are right about that, man. Yeah. Did you ever work with Cheech and Chong? Did you ever do it?
No. I know Tommy, but we haven't worked together.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Willow.
Yes.
That's big.
There's talk about a revival
series.
That's
what I kind of want to bring up, if you don't mind.
I don't know anything more about it on my end other than it would be nice to come back. It would, certainly I think the fans would get a giggle out of it. Me and Kevin.
Yeah.
And the spots and all that crap again.
Yeah, man.
Right?
That would be great.
And the scraggly wigs. And you know why we speak French?
Why?
Because it was a poke in the ribs to fan comic artist Jean Giraud. You'd know him better as Mobius.
Oh, okay.
He designed a lot of things you love. He designed the spacesuits for the humans in Alien, the original Alien.
Okay,
and,
yes.
He's done a lot of design work you would recognize in Blade Runner and stuff like that.
That alien suit stands out. Those alien outfits stood out.
The human ones.
Yeah.
That she's looking around the corner and it's right there,
Yeah.
He made that, all the bolts and knobs on it. He made it looking gothic. He put an almost steampunk look on it. Anyway, he was a famous artist, and he designed our look, our basic look of the brownies. And so we were French because of it.
All right, okay. I dig that. What was your favorite? What was the part that you thought up until then? Did you think that you were still going strong, that you were in it for good because you kept working? Or were you?
You always think it's the end at the end of everything.
I know, but at the beginning, the beginning.
Well, did we know what it would be? Well, it's going to be a thing with Ron Howard and George Lucas. It's going to be something they made.
Yeah.
And you read the script, and it's exciting, and it's like Lord of the Rings. They brought Lord of the Rings without the Lord of the Rings franchise details to the screen first, with all the effects and the sweeping epic grandeur, more than even Ridley Scott did with
Aliens?
The puppets, or the other one with Tom Cruise.
Yes. Gosh, dang it, man.
And they're fun movies.
They are fun movies. If I don't think about it, it will come right to me. Anyway.
They're great films.
Ridley Scott, Tom Cruise. I'm trying to think. What is Ridley Scott and Tom Cruise? You talking about Top Gun? No, you're not talking about Top Gun. What are you talking? Ridley Scott and Tom Cruise. Anyway, all
right, dude. Your phone's in use, so I'm going to put mine out. And I'm going to look right now at
Ridley Scott and Tom Cruise. Everybody's going, it's that.
They know. They all know. We're the last to know.
We are the last to know.
Legend.
1985.
Legend.
Legend. Yes. I think he met his wife on that film. His first wife. Okay. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
But the most important role to me for you is Blind Fury.
Had fun with Nick Cassavetes. Speaking of improv, we had a lot of improv in that. The whole shit fuck thing in the elevator was all coming up with it. He was letting us. Philip Noyce knew we had a funny thing going. In fact, we turned it into a comedy. It wasn't a comedy when it started until they saw our dailies. And then suddenly, you can even see Rutgers getting a little looser and goofier and sillier after our dailies. We turned the whole damn thing into a comedy.
I love
it was because of Nick Cassavetes and me. That's
I believe
John's
that.
boy.
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Because you all...
You sneaky bastards we are.
Seriously, that's the thing about you, Rick. You can enter a dramatic movie, and no matter what, you're still bringing a comedy flair
When it's
to
time,
it
yeah.
when it's time.
When
and
it's time to
needed
do
sometimes.
that, yeah. Sometimes it was what was needed to throw a little log on the fire, goose it up a little bit, and sometimes it's just not called for at all, and you don't do it. And the thing you have to overcome is everybody on the edge of a giggle waiting to see what you'll do when there is no intention of doing so at all. You have to win over an extra hillside of mountains to get over that part of it so that people just come around to grasping that this is, oh, you're not playing us for any of that. Because if you do it as a live stage scene, when they're used to seeing you do funny and you do serious, they start giggling at all your serious shit because they're looking for it, you know?
Right. Yeah. Rick, when you get your sides to a movie that you're going to be shooting, are you looking at it going, okay, how can I make this funny? Or are you waiting to get on the set? How are you?
If it's a comedy?
No. Let's say it's a drama. Let's say it's just...
Then there's no making it funny if it's a drama. You know, like there's kinds of dramas that are really comedies. Like I think The Informant, Soderbergh's film, where I played Matt Damon's boss.
That's right. Yeah.
I was not playing a laugh at any point, just being this guy's kind of douchey self is the joke. The premise is the joke with that film. That's why you see all these comedians playing very straight roles. It was like, and I'm dying up here. The joke is what's happening overall.
Yeah.
And you have to leave it in the grander punchline.
Yeah. Did you get I'm dying up here because you knew Jim Carrey, or because it's based on comedians? Is it because they knew
it didn't hurt?
It didn't hurt, right?
Didn't hurt, but I also, I do my job.
I know you
I
do.
get offers, and
you get offers
I got
all
to do
the
that,
time.
but it doesn't hurt to have a friend that makes a little prepared.
How do you do it when there's a project that you know of and one of your friends is attached? What do you do?
You have to wait and see if they funny.
Really? Do you?
Don't be creepy, stalky calling guy.
Don't be, right?
No, don't be that guy.
Have you ever did that and you regretted it? I mean, did you learn that the hard way? Calling somebody up?
I think in my career I probably said, "You have anything for me?" when they didn't have anything. And that was the extent of it, rather than close to it's the real thing and you got that one.
Yeah.
I just checked at some point when it was sort of a low point in the work scene there, and I was phoning around, and they said, "No, man, you'd see it in the trades,
Yeah.
Look on IMDb, I don't have anything." Oh, right.
Well,
nah.
You do have over 160 IMDb credits. You've always worked.
I keep working. Luckily, I keep working, and I'm with Omnipop Bruce Smith, and that's good, and we're, knocking it out of the park when there is a ball thrown in that park.
Right.
Let's see what happens now with Georgia. If Georgia starts pulling work out, maybe you'll start seeing it come back here again.
I'm kind of hoping that happens.
Are you thinking the same thing?
I'm thinking the exact same thing, and a lot of other people are thinking the exact same thing.
I mean, whether it comes here or not, the awareness has to be up on the abortion law.
Well, of course.
You can't get away with that for free. It has to be insanely costly to you. But if it comes here, that'd be great for us.
You would think it would just
it's
come
not
here.
the original reason to do it, but it'd be nice.
I know, but we're talking about that, and we should get all the work back here in Hollywood. I mean, this is Hollywood. You would think that this is where things should be shot.
It's expensive to shoot here.
It
New
is.
York,
You're a part of a club that I'm jealous that I'm not a part of, which is the Seinfeld Club, being on Seinfeld. Are you jealous of that? Are you proud of being a Seinfeld member?
I'm the Drake.
You are the Drake.
Love the Drake, hate the Drake.
Somebody told me today, call him the Drake.
Yeah, that would have been a fun spin-off, but no.
Was there talks about a spin-off?
There's no talk of that at all. Not a word.
Well, how many episodes did you do? You did a couple, I know.
Two.
You did two.
I did 2 episodes. Yeah.
And were you excited about those?
Very excited about it, yeah.
I mean, what's not to be excited about? Because when you did it, it wasn't the Seinfeld that we know as it is today. You were part of a couple of shows like that. Seinfeld, everyone loves.
End of season 3, last 2 episodes of season 3. The next to the last, and then the last, where they shoot the pilot with the recast.
Yes.
And I'm in the handicapped parking spot episode where they buy a big screen TV, and using George's dad's car, they park in the wrong spot, and there's no tags for it, so these people just beat the shit out of his car. and he comes back only to find when they deliver the TV to us that now we broke up and crying and in a fight. And now they got to steal the TV back and get it back. They won't get their money back for it.
Okay, you're in that, which everybody loves, The Office, which has a big turnaround.
Pam's dad.
Pam's dad. Look at that, man. Everyone loves The Office right now, more so than ever before. You have
A
people
lot of
coming.
shows do that rerun thing, man.
Yeah, and it's
they get a
crazy.
second heat on that rerun. You just sit back and look at your checks come in. Oh my. Ching, 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 ching. Goodness.
You and I were a part of tried to do a spin-off show. You and I have a couple of friends over at My Wife and Kids.
Mm-hmm. We do.
And they brought us on, and they tried to do a spin-off with a character on it. And you and I got really excited. I don't know if you remember this or not, but you and I had lunch.
That's right.
You and I had lunch after rehearsal one day, talking about all of
This
the
is
millions.
15 years ago.
15 years ago. I know you don't remember this, but I remember every little bitty detail when it comes to thinking something big is going to happen. And then a couple weeks later, I get a phone call that the whole thing was cut. How many times has that happened in your life? A bunch, right?
Sure. Yeah. I'm in the stunt union because of a stunt I did for Chevy Chase that wasn't used in flesh.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm in the stunt union. I mean, I can be in the stunt union if I want now. I can Taft in. At 64, I'm not going to be doing that. But just those little interesting side stories, you know, and the long curve of your crazy career journey.
Rick, what has been? We're going to start with the negative and end with the positive. What were some of the toughest days in Hollywood? I mean, was there times where you thought about getting out? Because you're such a
there's
staple.
moments of it.
There's moments.
Yeah,
yes.
there's more moments than times. I won't give it's a whole time. I'll
Right.
say there's moments of fuck all this shit. Nah, I gotta come back. I mean, I didn't leave. I'm just saying, if I did, I'd have to come right back. I'd change my mind and no, this is my thing. This is what I do.
It is. It is your thing.
It's your thing too, man.
Well, thank you, but I would hate to see you doing anything else other than this.
I would like to do something near this, if not exactly this. So it would be in the producing and the whatever, you know, creative side of all of that, if possible.
Have you ever created a show?
Not a TV show.
Have you ever thought about it and you just didn't do it?
No, I thought about it and tried to do it.
Okay. Did you gather some really creative friends and you put everything into it and it just fell?
No. Gathering of friends would be after the money came in.
Okay.
So you write it and you try to sell it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's okay. What were the best days in Hollywood for you? I'm not saying today's not the best day, but you know, when you're looking back, oh man, that was a time, that was great.
Oh, I'd say the days of getting up on stage and Robin running up and joining me for 2 hours for pure improv, you know. Working on all the movies I did, all the TV shows.
What was your favorite movie you did?
Don't ask me that.
I'm not going to ask you that question. Why can't I ask you that question? I'm just curious.
Too many favorites.
Okay, that's what I thought. I don't want to talk about other people when I'm talking about you, but can we talk 30 seconds about Robin?
Sure we can. Anytime.
What was that like? I say, what was that like? Were you expecting that news that day?
No. I think maybe Bobcat might have been. He was more in touch with the last days. And he might have seen it coming, but I didn't. And maybe I didn't want to. Even if I had heard, I'd have gone into some kind of cognitive dissonance about it.
Rick, I'm sure everybody else felt this way, but that was the first death in Hollywood that really, besides John Belushi when I was a kid, those were 2 days that I will never forget, because Robin Williams, my gosh, man, he brought so much joy to people, and he didn't have it. I don't know even, I guess there's nothing more to say than that. Do you have any final thoughts on that? Yeah. Okay. Mom. You did Mom?
Yeah.
Season finale?
Yeah.
And that's who's in charge of that? Chuck Lorre? Did you work with him personally?
Well, he was on set.
Were you intimidated by him? And I'm saying all this in good standards because he's hired me before, and I got nothing good to say. But his force is definitely a big force.
It's not intimidation.
I was intimidated.
I was having fun. And they changed up the scene a little bit. It was trying to get this around the wheelchair with the photographer for the wedding, and they simplified it because tripping over wire and shit just to get over, running around to the other side of it. It looks fine from up here, but you're tripping over all kinds of crap on the set. It didn't work. So they rewrote the thing on the set, and the rewrite was great and tighter. And the first one the laugh wasn't working right, and this one, boom, it just goes right to the laugh. And they're like, these people really know what punch-up
They do, don't
is.
they?
They have. Not everyone has a great punch-up team, but they have an astonishingly good punch-up team. Crazy good.
Rick, we're going to start winding down here in a sec. Like I said, this is in and out, no one gets hurt type of interview. I'm 49. You got a few years ahead of me. Do you have any advice for me? Keep staying at this business that's changing so quickly.
The improv doesn't end when we get off stage. All of this is an improv. And I'm just yes-anding with the circumstances and the locations and the occupations as they get thrown here. The business is in such a flux that one thing is you can't take any of it personally. You can't go, you failed, when the business is turned upside down like an omelet. Everything's nuts. Everything's in reverse.
I mean, it is nuts, right?
It's nuts right now. Agents and managers all admit it. They acknowledge that this is not a normal time here. So much work has been shipped away, and that might come back now.
Yeah.
But even if it doesn't, or even if it does, it doesn't mean we're the ones that'll get up for all this. Everyone's going to clamor for it. You can see giant names taking medium-sized stuff.
Oh yeah, man.
Because they know that's the only remaining gig. All that stuff we used to go in for. Someone else is like, they're hitting our corner,
Yeah.
That's the way this is going to be. It always happens like that, and it did. And in the business has stopped paying what it used to. You have to do 10 gigs to make the money you used to get doing one gig.
You are so right about that.
And it used to buy more when you got the money.
Yes.
All of that is being set on its side now.
I mean, Rick, I've been doing this thing. I've done like 42 interviews. You're like my 43rd interview. The majority of all the actors I interviewed are not working. Like, it's people who worked all the time are freaking out. Mm-hmm. But like
you're hearing this story left and right, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I bet you are, Clint.
What do you got next, Rick? What if you went home today? What would you like to work on? What would you focus on? What are you focusing on? Yeah, TV, movies. What would you love to do?
I'd love to get a part on Game of Thrones. No? What?
Oh God!
Out of touch. No, I like to. I want to get some more of that steady work. I love 4-cam. I love 1-cam.
4-cam is fun. 4-cam is when you film in front of a live studio audience.
You hear that laugh, man. Takes you back, right?
It sure does, man.
But more than half the time when I'm shooting 4-cam, I'm still just in the block and shoot part. So you're just there a day early, and you'll know, if you show up for the taping and you hear the laugh, it's almost like you were there doing it for the laugh, right?
Right, exactly.
All those people up there, they laugh at your shit. There's the day late,
you're right about
Friday
that.
instead of Thursday. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, stay loose and be flexible, psychologically flexible, economically flexible, philosophically flexible about all this stuff, because no one has the answer completely and no one has all the controls. It's kind of just spinning on its own right now.
I got to ask you I got to circle back. I got to ask you one last question, because I don't know if I'll ever get this opportunity again to bring something up that's not a good thing to bring up. But did Robin teach you anything about being funny? Did any rules that he guided, that he had, that stood out to you?
He didn't deliberately sit me down and say, now do this.
Sure, but something that you
What did I
observed?
learn while playing with him?
Yes.
That he was showing me, I guess, by just showing how it worked to play with him. that sometimes you win by allowing instead of forcing, permitting it to go ahead. Wait, be more patient. Don't try to alpha and dominate the scene all the time. That isn't your win all the time. Sometimes you're measured from a few years of just how I sort of suction drafted behind him.
Yeah.
And my abilities were measured by how well I could keep pace. And so then it became I could keep side by side and we could lead each other after a while, you know.
Yeah.
And so I learned allow that other part to get to the good part. You don't just get the black belt.
Yeah.
You get the shit knocked out of you with white and yellow and green, orange and blue, brown.
Okay. Okay.
And we've had the shit knocked out of us, and
Yes,
we're
we
still
have.
here.
We're still
And
here.
that's what humor is for.
I mean, Rick, would you say you've been kicked in the gut over 1,000 times in this business? Because I have.
Mm-hmm.
And you pick yourself up. You can pick yourself up within a day or two, or within an hour.
I don't know. Sure.
Sure.
Those are two, somewhere in between those two.
Okay. Rick, anything else before I shut it down?
I'm an imperfectionist because that's a goal I can reach every day.
Rick, I've always loved you, dude. You always crack me up. I'm always excited when I run into you. Thank you so much for doing this, Rick. I really appreciate you,
Thanks,
brother.
Clint. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
Been too long, buddy.
Hey, Rick, do me a favor. Tell everybody bye.
Bye, everybody.